and went to school for gifted Gogglada for my senior secondary education, and that was mainly because I wanted to go to a boarding school. Um, and so I did that,
Okay, that's
and
good.
afterwards I started university. I started college at University of Ilorin. I studied computer science for a year while I was
Oh,
processing my admission to the United States to study computer engineering at the University of Wyoming. Um, so I was at the University of Ilorin from 2015 to 2016, and I moved here August of 2016, and I've been here since then. I graduated in May, this
okay.
past May,
So
and
you would say that oh, congratulations on your graduation.
thank you.
So how long did you know how long before you went to study in the university did you know what you wanted to study as computer engineering or computer science?
Um,
How long did you find out? When did you find that out?
I would say I believe sometime in my senior secondary school. I the way I
Okay.
developed interest was I don't know if it's normal or if this is necessarily the norm, but I enjoyed watching movies and I got interested in robotics from the movies I watched, specifically like iRobot. It was like a movie of a robot like taking over the
Oh,
world with Will Smith. And
yeah,
well,
I
I'm not
remember that
necessarily following
movie.
through the whole concept of like I'm not supporting robots taking over the world, but that did make me grow fascinated with like robotics and like, how could you program a robot to like, think, to act, to move, like, to do all these things that I was seeing in the movie. And so that was what made me want to study computer engineering. And that somewhat shaped the college I went to because I was very keen and adamant on studying in the United States because I wanted to study a practical degree such as computer engineering. And I didn't believe that I would have like I guess all the full resources to the extent of like I want to study robotics based on practicality and I didn't feel like I would have all that if I stayed at University of Illinois specifically. So yeah, I would say I figured out what I wanted to study sometime, around my senior secondary
Oh,
school days.
okay, that's great.
But I did
Can you
definitely
still hear me?
yes, I can.
Okay, okay. So the reason I asked the question, if you can still hear me, the reason why I asked the question is usually you meet with students and the question of what they want to study is a very pertinent question. Okay, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I get that, I understand that, and that's sort of what made me decide to talk about like choosing a career path to do. I provided a presentation that was just going to talk about a couple of factors, I guess few factors I felt was important to consider when choosing a career path. I guess just based on my experience and based on I don't know, like some research I've done and yeah, mainly based on experience and research I've
Hello?
done. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so I was gonna say like based on that, I would say three major factors to consider when you're like trying to decide on what you should study is your interest. Because for me, like again, as I said, I was interested in robotics, so that was like, oh, okay, computer engineering, that's how you get into robotics. So I feel like your interest, like what are you interested in? Do you see yourself as more I mean, I suppose at this point you've already decided on if you're going to go the humanities route or the science route. So, you're probably taking science classes or you're taking more accounting classes or, you're taking like, you're sort of like in a kind of niche of like, you're not just taking all of the classes, right? So at this point, you can start exploring of like, okay, am I interested in math? Am I interested in this? Like, what am I interested in outside that? And then based on that, you can also evaluate your skills of like, okay, am I good at math and sciences? If you're good at math and sciences, maybe consider taking a STEM major. And STEM stands for like science, technology, engineering, and math major. So maybe consider looking into engineering fields or, like science related fields or math related fields. It couldn't even be mathematics. Um, but then if you're interested in, if you like numbers, you're interested in, business, you enjoy business ethics in class, then maybe consider looking into accounting. So like sort of like looking into what fields you can study based on your interests and also your skills. Like what courses are you good at? What courses do you enjoy doing in school? And last thing I would say is the factor to consider is also the job market. And this is more of a thing, like it's going to be like a personal reflection thing of like, okay, well, for instance, if let's use petroleum, is that a lot of times, there are times where there's very high demand for it, and at other times in the economy, there's really low demand, and you have lots of graduates looking for jobs in this field. So I think like if you have interest in that, that's something to research on and know about, so you're making an educated decision. I'm not saying don't still do it, but sort of what the computer engineering, and it also worked out as a good decision in my opinion based on the fact that computer engineering is a combination of electrical engineering, so more of the hardware part of computers, and also computer science, more of the software, and both fields independently were booming. And so like, of course both of them together would also be booming because you could go into either fields. So that was like factors I took into consideration when deciding on a career path for myself. And